Hey guys, we're going to go ahead and assemble this ROCKLAND Easy Fold platform 2 e-bike rack. I got the instruction manual right here if we need that. I'm going to install it right here on the back of the Jeep on the hitch. The reason I'm going to do that is just it makes it a lot easier because this holds up everything while you're working on it, while you're putting the bolts in. Makes it a lot easier to work on than doing it on the ground. If you do have a Jeep, it has this spare tire on the back, or a Bronco or something like that, you're going to have this little hitch extension to get the rack out far enough to fold up. You won't need that on trucks, but on the Jeeps and Broncos, you're going to need something like that. Let's get going. First piece we're going to put on is the main assembly here. The anti-vibration bolt goes right through this hole. So you got to line the hole up with your hitch. This is your anti-vibration bolt. We're going to put that in. Some of these are a little tight at first. It might be helpful to put some WD-40 or something on it. A little bit of motor oil, something to let it go in smooth and not get rusty. This bolt does take a 24mm socket. After that's installed, it gets the little keeper pin. Just goes right in the hole. Just a little safety pin. Next thing we're going to do is install the large folding mechanism onto this assembly right here. This is the part right here that moves back and forth when you pull the handle that allows you to fold this rack up and put it down. Just insert this right here. Line up that pin with the first slot and put it in. And then what we're going to do is find the hardware that goes in that hole there. We're going to line that hole up and get the hardware in it right here. All the manual is showing for this is the big bolt and the big nut. It doesn't show any washers or anything. This is a lock nut. So this bolt takes the same 24mm size, and on the other side I'm going to use this large adjustable wrench to hold the nut. Snug this bolt and nut up, guys, but don't put this too tight because this assembly needs to be able to move up and down freely, so don't over tighten it. After this thing is locked down, there's a little safety pin here that can lock into place, and that will prevent you from pulling the handle any farther. But when you want to move this, you need to pull this pin out and turn it. That way you can pull the handle. These can drop down lower also, if you have a need for that. Check the manual to make sure you orientate these racks in the right direction, because you can flip these around either direction if you want to. So make sure you install them the way that the manual shows you to install them. Finding the hardware for these racks is pretty easy because there's only 4 long bolts and there's 4 matching nuts. These are lock nuts. These do not get washers according to the manual. Put the bolt all the way through. Put the other bolt all the way through on this one. Then we're going to install the 2 nuts. Let me find the right size socket to tighten these down. Alright guys, these bolts are 16mm. I'm going to use the adjustable wrench to hold the other side. Put them nice and snug, guys, but don't over tighten this stuff. There's no need to squeeze this all together. Just make them nice and snug. This other rack is going to go the opposite direction of this rack. Looks like the bolts won't fit in this orientation, so I'm going to put them in from this side. I checked the manual. That is the correct orientation of the nuts and bolts on the front rack. Alright guys, next thing we're going to do is install these tire carrier assemblies. You want to have this arched part facing up towards the top. You want to make sure you have this flipped around to where your strap can go in and lock in place. And this will be towards the top also. The hardware for these comes organized already. It has the washers and lock washers already on it. There are 4 bolts for each side. Let's put this assembly over the top. Get your bolts started. These bolts also take a 16mm to install. Now guys, you're putting a steel bolt into an aluminum assembly here. Do not over tighten these and break your aluminum parts. Only tighten these down far enough to where you flatten out that lock washer. Snug it up a little bit. Once that lock washer is nice and flat, this thing is not going anywhere. Remember, you're going to have this arched frame facing towards the top. We do need to install these swing arms. They're going to go in this position right here. These are going to be able to go up and down. They're going to lay flat like that when they're installed. So we're going to put the hardware through here to lock these in place. All right, guys, this is the hardware you get for the movable arms. You get the 2 bolts, the 2 nuts, and you do get the 4 plastic spacers. This part's going to be a little tricky, guys. It looks like these have to come up from the bottom, and they kind of fit into a indentation inside there, and you're going to need to install 2 of those simultaneously and then get the bolt through there. So yeah, that's going to be a little tough. One of the plastic pieces fell out, guys, so what I did is I started it on one side, and now I'm going to install the second one and get the bolt all the way through. This part is a little tricky, guys. There, I got it all the way through. Then it's going to get a nut. It tells you to tighten this up to 50 Newton meters of torque, so you'll have to convert that. The reason they want you to tighten this up to 50 Newton meters of torque is so this rod does not vibrate in this channel. Just so you know, guys, I did convert it for you. 50 Newton meters of torque is about 35, 36 foot-pounds of torque. I'm going to try to do the same thing on this side, guys. Just install one side and then try to install the next one. All right, I got one side through. I'm going to install the other spacer. Shake the arm a little bit and you can get the bolt to come through. Then put your nut on. Again, that was about the trickiest part of this whole build so far, but not too hard. These nuts are actually a different size. These are 17 millimeters. So far we've needed 24 millimeter, 16 millimeter, and now we need 17 millimeter. And that big adjustable wrench. You could use a big pair of pliers to hold the nuts also, but a big adjustable wrench definitely come in handy. I'm not going to use a torque wrench here, guys. I'm just going to get a feel for it. Make these tight enough that the rod can still move, but not shake in the channel. If you have these rods installed properly, they are going to go up to a 90-degree angle and hit the stop, and they're going to go back down flat and hit the stop the other way. All right, guys, this thing is pretty much assembled. All we need to do is install the mid-frame holders. This is what the mid-frame holders look like. This is going to attach to your middle upper frame of your bike or to your seat post to hold the bike upright. These things are just fully adjustable, guys. They can be spun around. Of course, you can adjust the strap. This right here loosens and tightens up to fit on these rods. I'm going to install one on this rod right here so you can see that. This is going to be the orientation that you're going to put it in when you're using it. So for different size bikes, you'll be able to move this up and down. You'll be able to spin this thing around as needed, adjust your strap as needed. And when you get it where you want it, then you tighten it down and it'll stay in place. The other thing you want to make sure to do is when you're not using it, when you're just riding with no bikes, you want to make sure these are tightened down so they don't fall off the rack while you're driving. On this bike rack, it looks like the mid-frame holder needs to be almost all the way out for it to lay flat. What I've seen some other people do, guys, they will take this strap here and they will put it through this mid-frame holder and strap it in like that. That way it can't fall off. That's probably a pretty secure way to be driving around with it like this. That way you're never going to lose these, because these can fall right off the end if you forget to tighten them up. So just be careful of that. I did have 2 leftover large hardware here, guys, and I did realize where this goes. I will show you. This is supposed to go on the anti-vibration bolt that we installed first. This is the washer and lock washer for this anti-vibration bolt right here. So make sure to put those on when you're first putting this assembly in. All right, guys, let's try to fit a couple bikes on here. So we're going to go ahead and install these big bikes on here. I hold the back brake and I lift them up like this to get the front wheel up like that. This one does have an optional ramp, but it did not come in this kit. So I get the front wheel up like that, and then I drive it the rest of the way over. You usually got to make sure this is locked down, otherwise this part will slide on you back and forth. Make sure this little stopper is up against the wheel like that. And the first thing you want to do is get your mid-frame mount installed. Most of the time, guys, I end up taking these off, swinging the arm up. Let's get the pedals in the right position, which is going to be probably forward here. Swing the arm up, and then put the mid-frame mount back on. This bike right here is not traditional. It doesn't have the normal upper frame. This is more of a moped style bike, but I still think I could strap it right here under this battery. So yeah, this rack is pretty flexible. You'll be able to use it for different styles of bikes, even though they're not really the proper bike for this rack. Make that nice and tight. Now that's got your bike held upright. Now you can put your tire straps on. Now the bike's on there, guys. Really secure, not going anywhere. Now we got a bike with big 26 by 4 inch fat tires. What I do again, hold the back brake, lift the front of the bike up, get it up there on the rack. Then I lift the rest of the bike, drive it into position. We're going to install the mid-frame holder on the rod. Leave it a little bit loose. Lean it up against the frame like this and then put the strap through it. Then tighten down the knob on the mid-frame holder so it can't go up and down anymore. The bikes that have spokes, just make sure you go through the proper way. Sometimes you got to move the tire forward or aft to get this strap to be able to go through the spokes. Same thing on the front tire. Again, make sure your spokes are aligned with the strap so you don't bend your spokes at all. Tighten her on down. So there you go, guys. We got two big electric bikes on this rack, no problem. One of them is a 20 by 4 inch fat tired moped style electric bike. One of them is a 26 by 4 inch fat tired electric bike. I will tell you one thing about using a rack like this. It does kind of block your tail lights and your brake lights on the back. So you might want to install some trailer lights or something like that that you can hang on the back of the bikes. That way people can still see your tail lights and your brake lights. Bottom line, guys, if you're going to be carrying big electric bikes like this, you're either going to need the bed of a truck or you're going to need a rack like this. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something about the assembly of this bike rack. We'll catch you in the next one.